I glued up the two pieces, obviously the edge on here and the inside of the back. So this is the back of the shell with the rounded off front corners. I let the glue cure, because this is a tough one to stick together if the glue is not cured. Stuck pretty well, and then I am clamping these to make sure there's good adherence. Now, if you really want to get fancy on this, get some heavy duty thread, get a nice needle, and you can just do a loop stitch, just stitch this whole thing together if you're afraid at all that that this might come apart, or if you're planning on keeping this for a long time, you might want to do that too. So just something to make things a little more permanent. You can do the edges of your everything that comes together if you want. Also, I've found that this glue pretty much adheres this foam together, so it might be a little bit of overkill. If you do want to do the sewing reinforcement, I would highly recommend putting a little WD-40 on the needle, as it's going to be going through the glue, and instead of gumming the whole thing up, it's just going to slide right through, and you can just keep going around and around. Don't worry about how it looks. We're going to be covering the whole thing up. Back of the shell all attached, glued or glued and sewn. The next thing we're going to do is put in a couple of ribs here. This rib is 7 inches tall, and we're going to keep the same 18 inches in width. So the shell is the same dimension from back to front. 7 inches here, and just curve it down a little bit so it's going to go with the curve of your back. And these go almost all the way to the bottom here. So you can really glue in the whole thing and then just cut it out if you want. And we're going to do that twice, one here and one here. Let's see, this one isn't, it fell off a little bit, but it's no big deal. So 2 ribs. This one from the front is 7 inches also, so 7 inches from the front and 7 inches down. And the bottom one is 8 inches from the back. Doesn't really matter. I think the front one is probably more critical than the back one, but you just want this to be up off of your back. So I've got all the ribs glued into the shell. I also did tack it in with thread at the 2 ends and in the middle, ends. Just because it does take the most stress of any part where it might have 2 pieces of the foam pull apart. The next thing I'm going to do is attach the shirt, and very easily I'm just going to sew about 6 inches just right at the top collar of the shirt on the top rib closest to the open end. So that's the next step. As you can see, the shell is attached to the shirt. It's holding on just by the back of the collar, you can see there. Next process is to attach the tail of the shirt to the very back. So what we're going to do is we're going to have somebody, a second person, help her mark the shirt where the tail, the very back of the shell attaches to that, and we'll sew that there so all the weight isn't pulling on the neck. Should be pretty much done except for putting the this spooky cloth or whatever it's called on. Now's the time, if you want to round out the edges, make sure you have a really sharp blade, some extra blades, and you can just lop off the edges at an angle here. You can do the same thing here. It's not totally necessary, but if you're a perfectionist and you want to make it look nice and smooth, just go ahead and do all the edges. Make sure you put your wraps at the bottom of your legs, and we're going to use some Gorilla tape and tape up all the joints, and I'll show you what I did. Here are all the parts ready for the creepy cloth. You can say I put tape on the joints, wrap the legs here all the way almost to the bottom, tape everything together, tape so it's all one piece. The shell, we've got the mask, we've got the legs. You can see I did the side stitching on the legs so in case they get abused at all they don't tear apart, and the thigh wraps. So we're all set. Mask. Next thing, creepy cloth. We're ready to go. Okay, it's creepy cloth time. This came in a 60-inch width. This is where you can get really creative. You can see on my videos how I wrapped mine, but basic application is at the top of where you're hanging it, because we want it to be all drapey. Just lay on a lot of glue. You really don't have to let it cure. And I'm going from the front to the back, just wrapping it so it hangs down in the back. But just laying it on, and this thing's going to be in the dark, so you just want to cover it and make it sort of drapey. And where it's attached at the back, I just lay on a little extra glue, knowing that it's gonna dry clear, and then I'll just wrap a little bit at the bottom, just hiding all the tape. So you can get as creative as you want. On the last ones, I hung a little tail out there at the back of the legs, just to hide the seams and make it look a little creepier. But that's basically the creepy cloth on a leg. Same premise with creepy cloth on the crutches. I glued the upper part and all the sides. I cut something that's a little bit longer than the length of the whole thing, and I'll drape it from the outside to the inside so it covers it all. Just like that. Got the little glue on the inside, and I just push it along the edges. If it grabs, it grabs. If not, it just hangs down. And the flowier, the better. I might even put some extra on the side there, and this is what the inside looks like. Your arm's going to go. But nothing planned, just we'll make it look the best we can for right now, knowing we can always change it. I want to make sure we get a little more technical on the shell. This is the front. I've got about 1.5 foot overhang that I'll be able to lay on the neck part so the head goes back and forth. And a 2 to 3 feet hanging down to go down to the back of the leg so it looks like all one area. So I just draped it on there, and then I will spray glue. I'll just spray glue on the sides and the top, the front edges, and that will hold everything in place. If you find that it doesn't, or if you pull it off, you can always just do the thread and tack it on with the thread, needle and thread. Eye wraps too, just make sure you have the top wrapped. Hopefully the sides will come down and cover this and make this hang down from the thighs about a foot, because that goes over any of the calf, the PVC for the calf and the Velcro, and it'll cover everything going into the stilt part of it. Mask, you want to put creepy cloth. I hot glued around the edges and put creepy cloth a couple feet. Make sure it hangs down on the sides. I even put one at the bottom of the chin here, because my head is going to go this way. I want to be able to look down, and you can see through this when you're looking through it from close, but people can't see through there, so it's very, very difficult for people to see your face because you're looking down and because there's all the creepy cloth to look through. They can't look up, but you can look out. Another thing you want to do is get a pair of sweatpants, your size, obviously, and drape some creepy cloth around it. Make it about the same length as as your pant legs. Of course, your legs will go inside the stilts, and this will go on the outside, so it'll give a smooth transition from your back and your back end down to the legs and the sides of the stilts. So what I do is staple this onto the waistband, and then just go ahead and you just hand sew it. You can tack it right on there. It's going to hold, so there's not going to be any strain on that. So this is first time that Scott's got the costume on. The things you have to notice is make sure this is down in front. Make sure that the webbing goes over his neck, and then the webbing from the back goes over his head. So it makes a continuous flow from the shell up to the head. And he is actually, I'll zoom in, he's actually looking down. So if you, and go ahead and look up at me, Scott. So if you're worried about his face showing, he should be putting on some face paint, black around the eyes and the mouth, but it shouldn't be that bad. From the sides, make sure all the foam is covered. So whoever's helping you put this on, make sure the creepy cloth hangs down. And once you get it down, it'll be set because it kind of sticks to itself, which is the problem, because when it's disassembled, it kind of sticks in the wrong area. But the thigh things, make sure they're down over the legs
so your cuffs don't show. And that looks pretty darn good. Now Scott's got a white shirt on, but obviously he's not going to be wearing that. Go ahead and walk towards me. Yeah. Yeah, that's good. All right, I think we're all set. So that is the final assembly. Obviously you're going to make sure somebody helps you get in this, and then you're going to be ready to scare the bejeebers out of the neighbors.
Go get my hornet spray. So how much does that cost to make? $300.
Okay, go ahead and move your head. And put your head way up, but not show your face. Put your head to the... And that's effective too, is moving your head up and down on the shell or side to side, because then it almost looks like it's floating in space.